to be the man, you gotta beat the man right here.
Is the future of wrestling. You can call this the new world order of wrestling, brother.
Nobody is on my level. Everything I touch turns to gold.
Believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
So they decided not to let Cody Rhodes win the belt over Roman Reigns, most likely because they want to see Roman Reigns make it to 1,000 days as champion. And number two, because the storyline with Roman Reigns holding the belt, I don't think enough people are fatigued by that storyline yet. The Bloodline storyline still has so much more to tell. Because if you let Roman Reigns get dropped tonight, after the Usos drop the tag team titles, it will be a complete destruction of the Bloodline. And I think what happened was, that's what needed to happen. Now, with Solo Sikoa, as he was the one that ultimately was able to give the darting blow with the Samoan spike finally to Cody at that fateful moment to give Roman Reigns the leverage he needed to win and defeat after all the other interference that came. Because the factor that was not taken out, see, that was the one part of the plunder that was good. When Cody Rhodes did get help by the likes of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they neutralized the Usos. But they could not stop Solo Sikoa. No matter what, there was still something behind the sleeve to where Roman was still going to win. Because you have to neutralize that last person right there. Who is Solo Sikoa going to have to deal with now to keep him at bay? Because he is still a factor. Even though he was thrown out of the match, you thought he wasn't going to come back. Nice touch. The match was good. The match was really good. So I can't complain at all about how they set up this match and how they gave the outcome tonight that Cody doesn't win. We all wanted Cody to win. He's going to win. If they didn't decide to give it to him tonight, this was the first match they had. This is a feud that can continue. Like, we don't need to give Cody the belt right now. That's okay. And we don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to split the belts or not. Because, look, they could very well keep Roman out there with Cody, and they could keep wrestling each other for all they want through all the house shows, all the way up to SummerSlam, if that's what they want to do. They could do that. I don't think it's going to hurt, because the way that Cody lost, man, he had no chance. The Bloodline had just had too much going on, too much to overcome, and Cody was looked very strong throughout the match tonight. So they did that all correct. I can't dispute. Now, some people might feel different about this, but I don't. I feel like they did the right thing on how they handled things tonight. And I'm okay with Roman Reigns winning. It's the fact that, look, they've kept the storyline solid. No matter what, you're still going to see Roman continuing to go ahead and get the upper hand because he has just too much help. And the Bloodline did everything they could to hold on to Roman holding on to the belts, right? Roman still has to hold the belt to keep the Bloodline fluid. Now, the Usos are going to have to try to rematch to win the belts back from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Cody Rhodes will get his rematch back. They continue the storyline. And remember, those matches just got added. Cody, we knew after the Royal Rumble. Fine. They're going to validate the fact that Cody Rhodes did not get a proper chance to even get this. He needs no disqualification. He needs something to keep everybody away. All the interference out. The ref bumps. All this stuff. All it has to happen to stop so he can be done. If they can make it happen. Right? That's what needs to come across. We'll see how it works out. Look, they did a good job with that. Overall. No complaints there. I enjoyed what they did with the storyline overall. So, you have that set up. Solo Sikoa redeems himself. Good stuff. And really, when you look at things, I guess what comes down to is where I look at the rest of the show, if I wanted to look at the matches that really stood out to me that really mattered, I'm going to say it's the IC title match with Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. That was a hell of a match. Bianca, Belair, and Asuka did very well if she wanted to go and put it all together. And then the Demon, Finn Bálor, and Edge, very good. Those are the 4 matches that stood out. Even Brock Lesnar and Omos, in a short match, did what it needed to do. Because Omos not being ready yet, but getting a chance at least trying against Brock Lesnar, okay, I can work with that. So that's what they decided to do. So we, technically got 6 matches, but then you could technically say 8 throughout the night. Now, it's kind of tough for me to go talk about WrestleMania 39 when I have the news that's going on right now. And I'm going to talk about it right now because we have no choice. I had to make a few comments first of all. Okay, look, I like Brock Lesnar and Omos, the way they set it up. The 4-way tag team match for the women, Ronda and Shayna coming out on top was the right move. Gunther retaining over Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre can go along to their own feud because they're obviously still at odds, and Gunther's still holding on. They didn't decide to go and take the belt off of him yet. In a long reign as well, almost 300 days as champion. Oh my goodness, 300 days. And Bianca Belair retaining. So yeah, in the fashion that we had a lot of titles retain, that's why some people are going to say that night 1 when Kevin and Sami retained when Kevin and Sami became new tag team champions and Rhea Ripley became new SmackDown Women's champion, everybody's going to feel like that happened. But nothing's to get away from what they did tonight. But more importantly, CNBC first reported, followed by the Wall Street Journal, that WWE is near to be sold to the parent company of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC, Endeavor. Now, we got to talk about this because this was something that was supposedly debunked over a month ago. I remember reporting about the fact that Ari Emanuel, the CEO of Endeavor Group, the parent of UFC, they said they weren't looking at any possible buying of WWE. They flat out even called it out in the earnings call. So they basically made it sound like they were out of the running. Now, it is interesting that the deal is being closed here in Los Angeles because of the fact that now they were over there. You have WrestleMania going on. What a time to go and showcase everything, right? They do it. I can see Nick Khan being involved, how they're set up. By the way, Endeavor is based in Beverly Hills. So it's right there. Endeavor, by the way, if you did not know, it's a company that was created after 2 major talent agencies merged. Okay? And that is the William Morris Agency and the original Endeavor Talent Agency. So Nick Khan, I would imagine, along with Vince McMahon, as the legacy, as the owner of the company and the guy who's the primary shareholder, the founder, the creator of WWE, he's here involved. And Nick Khan and Vince McMahon, along with their people, were able to go ahead and construct a deal. It's a very good deal. Now, people can go and say what they want, but Vince McMahon will no longer own the company. The McMahon family will no longer own the company. Endeavor will own 51% of the controlling stock. That's what's going to happen. This is a huge move. This has not been finalized, but there are enough sources out there, 2 sources, and it confirms. Now we know this is going to happen. So we'll talk a little bit about WrestleMania 39 a little bit later on, but I got to talk about the sale. This is going to break tomorrow. Everybody's going to hear about it. This is going to trump WrestleMania 39, day 2. People will talk about it, but this is important. It's a watershed moment. I rarely say that phrase, but this is a watershed moment. The company's getting sold. We have to talk about that. I can't help it. So I will talk about WrestleMania 39, day 2, a recap of that. We'll do that here on the program, but I got to talk about the sale. This is what we know so far. So first of all, take from CNBC. The deal would combine the UFC and WWE into one publicly traded company. So WWE would no longer be solely publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange, or how it's done. They would be combined into Endeavor Group Holdings under the stock ticker symbol EDR, by the way. Now, we already know that since Vince McMahon came back, that he was here for the sale. And if anybody, if I didn't get everything right when it comes to the fact that Endeavor was not going to be a bidder for WWE, well, that's because everybody else didn't get it. That was a swerve. But when I said that Vince McMahon was coming back solely for the sale, that's what he's here for. And it was done. Broadcast deal, whatever. WWE is now being set up to be consumed by Endeavor Group, a bigger, more powerful talent and media agency, of which Nick Khan wasn't that far off from what he did with CAA, and very familiar with WME and IMG and all the major talent agencies that were around, because Endeavor is the biggest one of the biggest in California, dealing with a lot of Hollywood, a lot of media in general. Now, so CNBC said that WWE is in advanced talks to be sold to Ari Emanuel's Endeavor Group. A deal could be announced as soon as Monday, and they're expected to form a new publicly traded company as part of the agreement, according to the people who declined to be named due to the confidential nature of the discussions. Endeavor would own 51% of the new combat sports and entertainment company. WWE would have 49%, the shareholders there. So the Endeavor deal would give WWE an enterprise value. So if this was going to be sold, the valuation of WWE because of this deal makes it that WWE was worth $9 million. That is more than what Vince McMahon was asking for. That's pretty good. Now, Emanuel is expected to be acting as chief executive of Endeavor and the new company. McMahon is expected to be executive chairman. Meanwhile, the presidents of the respective companies, which is Mark Shapiro, will still be working with Endeavor. And as for UFC and WWE, they will still have their presidents. Dana White will continue to be president of the UFC, and Nick Khan will serve as president of WWE. This all sounds right to me. I mean, there's a lot more to talk about it, but this makes all the sense in the world. And the deal being done, at WrestleMania, I can imagine there's been some splurging, some networking, and some whining and dining among Nick Khan and the rest there in WWE to get this deal done. They got the deal closed in Los Angeles while they're there with the biggest event they had. 80,000 plus both nights. Even if it's an inflated number, okay, so what if it's 70, 75,000? That's still 2 nights of football, basically. Over 2 nights. An international crowd. Crowd hot with a great show. Everything you could have expected for this company is done. So we all know that McMahon came back in January to oversee the process. Shares have gone up 33% so far this year. So the market value already came up to about $7 billion anyway. So they're going to get much more off of this deal, what it's going to be. We don't know everything about the other parts of this, but we're going to, well, there's more to talk about, but the CNBC is going into the background. And Nick Khan was having interviews talking about there was a robust sales process with many interested buyers. So here's what Endeavor's getting. Remember, decades of intellectual property, a robust media and live events business. The company last year generated over $1.29 billion in revenue, and they have $1 billion media unit. Remember, they got the broadcast deals in place, but this deal right now, we have to figure out what's going to happen with the broadcast deals after and how this works out. Because they have to close the deal before they can go and finalize all these other things going on with the... But this is now Endeavor. Endeavor will now be responsible for the broadcast deals. And trust me, they're not going to have an issue with that. Now, some people are already talking on the line on Twitter. Okay, what does that mean for the premium live event business? You know what? There's still a deal with Peacock currently. we don't know what USA and Fox, the broadcast deals, are going to be going forward. But I mean, pretty obviously, I would see that USA and Fox would want to continue the relationships in some way, some form. But now you have not just Nick Khan at the negotiating table. Now you got Ari Emanuel's team, Endeavor, at the negotiating table. And by the way, they're the ones that got UFC an ESPN deal. Okay? Endeavor is, I mean, you're legitimizing WWE, right? Okay? WWE was already very much a legitimate company. Nick Khan has done the full transformation by bringing his people into the business, the right moves when it came to bringing in storytellers, the way a creative came in, where Triple H has come into play, all the moves coming in right now since Vince stepped down because of the controversy. Back in July last year, a lot of changes have happened. This has all been good. They're in a forward trajectory right now. And now the company, I mean, I can imagine that, I mean, Endeavor, they had a pretty good run with UFC so far. And it looks like Dana White and crew have benefited from this. I mean, it does make sense where WWE would be bought by a company like Endeavor. I mean, because of how UFC is presented in the same way she performed. So now you got this here. What happens next? I mean, my question is, what does the weekly TV become? The premium live events, we're going to get them anyway. I don't think they're going to, I mean, the Peacock deal came into play. It's not done yet. And the Peacock deal could pretty much stay as it is. Because no matter what Peacock wants this property, they need the library, the archive, they need the content. So they'll probably stay along with that. As for the deals with AMC to provide content, the stuff with Netflix, I don't know. But you're dealing with a company, an Endeavor, that very well understands sports and television. Period. They're going to do a great job with this. I can see it. Now, I'm wondering what that's going to mean in terms of what the companies, but this is already in the corporate structure anyway. And my question will be, what will happen when Endeavor comes in? Because it is a bit of a merger. Will there be any changes made when it comes to the WWE's operation and who is on staff? Because remember, it's a different story where UFC has these contracted stars that are just fighters that come on for whatever. These are contracted WWE superstars that are working on a regular basis. So you just have to figure out, okay, could there be a little bit of a shakeup, and to whom does that? And does this give a lot of legitimacy to the other companies out there? Because in a way, Impact Wrestling can be owned by Anthem and the way that they're set up, because Anthem, to a much smaller scale, owns Impact Wrestling and owns Bellator, I think it was. I forget who the other ones are, or Invicta. I forget what they have. They own the Fight Network. They own other sports properties. But they're not going to have anything to the level of what Endeavor is. Endeavor's worldwide. Endeavor's international. It's just huge. And do I need to go and just mention how big a deal this is? Like I said, with the size of what they have over 7,000 employees as of 2021. Okay? The story just right now is blowing up the spot all over the place. So background on the company itself. As we said, the company was founded in April 2009 after the merger of the William Morris Agency, which is one of the largest, most decorated talent agencies in the world, right? And the Endeavor Talent Agency. They represent artists in film, TV, music, theater, digital media, and publishing. They also represent the NFL and NHL. They own the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And they own a 20% stake in film and TV production company Fifth Season, with the 80% owned by a South Korean entertainment retail company called CJENM. So they have their hands in movies. They have their hands in talent, which could be cross-promoted throughout a lot of the things they could have right now, with the fact that you have the UFC and the WWE. I mean, you just got to look at what they can do. The one thing I think will definitely happen as a result of Endeavor coming in, I think one thing you'll absolutely see is more advertising in the ring, more advertising around the ring. I think the marketing around that is going to, that property is not going to get sold. So we're not going to see so much the branding of WWE across all the wonderful screens that they have around either around the ring or outside. Like, I think you're going to see a whole lot more branding and advertising being made available. I think they're going to try to go ahead and get that much more prominent than what Vince would ever allow, because Vince wanted to keep a clean ring, especially that mat. He never put anything on that mat. I think that mat's going to start seeing something. We're going to see something more like a boxing ring, where I think the turnbuckles will start seeing advertising. I think we'll see the mat having advertising. The premium live events, you're going to see it being made available as always on traditional pay-per-view, but the Peacock deal's still there. Now, they could also do a thing where maybe traditional pay-per-view isn't the place to go. Maybe they'll go somewhere else. Like, I mean, who knows? Because Endeavor will find a way to maybe find another platform to go with. They have the wherewithal. Now, Ari Emanuel, by the way, has been previously recognized as a 21st century super agent by both the Wall Street Journal and The Guardian, and as an influencer by Advertising Age. Done for itself. They've done a lot. They swept up two major talent agencies in WME, William Morris, and IMG, $2.4 billion. And then they also acquired Global Esports Management, international agency representing various esports and professional video game players and personalities. The Professional Bull Riders Association they bought, a televised esports league, the E-League. They acquired the Miss Universe organization. I mean, they bought the Ultimate Fighting Championship at the time for $4.025 billion, the largest ever acquisition in sports history, in the sports industry, by the way. Now they're going to buy this with a valuation of $9.3 billion. That is monster. And by the way, the legacy for Vince McMahon, shit. Like, come on. This guy built this company over 40 years. Built into a company that's worth almost $10 billion. A wrestling company worth $9.3 billion. That is wild. That is wild. Now, Endeavor's been the name of the company since the reorganization in October 2017. And there is so much that they have going on. IPO was launched in May 2019. So much going on. And now we have this. I mean, it's incredible, the whole build of this company and what they've done. Because all they've grown is, they're a Leviathan, okay? They are a Leviathan. They also own Learfield, Intercollegiate Sports Marketing Company. Basically, that's the radio arm of all college broadcasts, football, basketball, baseball, period. Diamond Baseball Holdings, which owns 9 Major League Baseball, minor league baseball teams, Your League Basketball. This is a monster crew that they have right now. Done. Now let's get to the Wall Street Journal story. We'll talk about this, and I'm going to I'll keep it short because we're going to find out more about the deal once we get the announcement. Now, at the moment, I'm looking through the issues when it comes to Wall Street Journal. They gave up the deals about, they actually made at the end of the story about how WWE is playing a pivotal role for Fox Corporation's Fox Broadcasting Network and NBC Universal's USA Network cable channel and Peacock, the streaming service. So we know that 2021, that WWE is right in the middle of a 5-year content deal with their WWE Network content and the premium live events, all what WWE Network offered, $1 billion. Then you have the deals next year for Fox and USA, which are due to expire next year, 2024. And at the moment, we know that ESPN is carrying UFC content right now under a 5-year deal, reported at $1.5 billion. And ESPN also offers UFC pay-per-views, events via pay-per-view. So that's everything. It's a lot. Incredible news coming out that WWE is going to get sold. Everybody's reporting on it. Sports Illustrated, I keep seeing other stories. Right now, it's inevitable. This is going to happen. Where do we go next? Where do things go from here? Incredible. So, this is major news we're getting right now. Let's see how all comes out. By the way, Triple H making comments in the press conference about Endeavor. He made no comment, by the way, about the CNBC report. And he's not going to say anything about it. Understood. So, with what we have so far from WrestleMania 39 tonight, we're going to kind of put a little bow on this. Brock Lesnar and Omos. Let's start with that. 5-minute match. Omos gets some offense. They did not butcher the match. Brock Lesnar had to go ahead and come back. So it was kind of like a Goldberg type feel. 5 minutes. It's a big brawling match. Brock Lesnar finds his way back, even though Omos does put some offense on and makes Brock Lesnar get hurt. I mean, Brock Lesnar seeing him get slammed like that and getting, pushed around doesn't happen much, but you can just see that this big giant didn't have what he needs. And that's right to not see Brock Lesnar lose to Omos, so that's the right move. Ronda and Shayna really weren't much in the match until later on in the night. Later in the match itself, 8 minutes for that match. Fine. No issues. Ronda and Shayna here kept strong. I mean, you got Ronda right there, and that's the reason that people were actually watching that match, more or less. Not so much for Liv and Raquel, not so much for Natalya and Shotzi, and not for Chelsea and Sonya. All right. Gunther, and that match was Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, which, by the way, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, they had their falling. They obviously had their tension with each other that was made very prominent throughout. That was the right move. And that's the reason where Gunther was able to get the win. Gave it 16 minutes. And then you got the part where you saw Gunther and Sheamus, again, going after each other with the chops. And just the level of brutality that all these three put on each other just made for a great match. That, I could watch that kind of match all the time. This big brutalizing kind of just chop, chop, chop. Strong style, European style. Love it. It's nice to know that WWE has this kind of style out there to have with these type of guys. So we can still see this dynamic going on. That's fine with me. No problem with Bianca Belair over Asuka. I don't think Asuka was much. I mean, they changed her look, and she's been champion many times. I think she's just here, and Bianca continues to be champion. They just need to build the next person to come forward. I don't know who that's going to be, but unfortunately, I still say it. This is where Mandy Rose would have come in and could have been that next person to go up. But I don't know who they have. I mean, who do you have going forward? Do you have Roxanne Perez after dropping the belt? Do you eventually see her come up to the main roster? Because I think she can make it up there now. I'm one of those people that says Roxanne Perez, Roxy, she's ready. She is ready to go up. She was already ready. And they gave her the time in NXT. She became champion, strong champion. She's excellent. I love her. I hope they move her up soon. So let's get her main roster. Let's do that happening right now. Shane McMahon actually gets hurt when he comes out. You know what? When he's cold and he hasn't probably, I don't know how much training he's been doing, but you know what? Somehow he got hurt. It's unfortunate. And so Snoop Dogg had to step in. At least it was only a minute. Whatever. Like, whoever did that on the fly to give that match the way it was, no problem to me. That's fine. There we go. Done. Edge over Finn Bálor. So Edge gets the upper hand here. Meanwhile, Rhea is the only person that wins out of this. I need to see Rhea Ripley become the leader of Judgment Day. Can we have that? I don't want Finn Balor being the leader because look, he lost as a demon. Edge gets the upper hand again. Damian Priest has been a non-factor. I need Rhea Ripley to put the pants on in this faction. I want to see Rhea Ripley leading this group. And by the way, I want it where it's this Bonnie and Clyde factor. I want Edge, I want Rhea and Dom to take the reins of Judgment Day. Can we have that? I would love that. I think that would be great. And as for Roman and Cody, we got a great match out of them. That was a hell of a match. Cody and Roman, this crowd was eating it up. The crowd was so loud throughout this match. This was the right move for this match. This match was great for a WrestleMania main event. I mean, it really, the build up to it, the way they set it up, excellent storytelling. And the storytelling could continue. And I think that's the other thing we got to think about as well. And the storytelling, because we're not getting these stories that don't really have much to it. The thing is that we're just getting this continuously, like here's new wrinkles in the storyline that just keep making this storyline interesting. The bloodline in general, it doesn't stop. I'm not tired of this. I am good with Roman as champion. I am fine if they're going to do something where the US says that they get the belts back. Great. I love all this stuff. Solo gets himself redeemed. There's just so much more story to tell. And the fact that Cody doesn't win it right now, that's okay. Cody will win it. I am wholehearted thinking that they were going to let that happen. And they made it look like it was so close it could be done. Because if not for the interference, Cody would have won. They could have told the story, and Cody legitimately would have been the right move to make him champion, but we can wait a little longer. Now, it's a different story if you told me this last year and it was Brock still going up against Roman. It's a different, this is all different now. This company as a whole, since last WrestleMania, is a 360. I was a bit critical, quite critical last year. This time around, I'm not. Not at all. This has been wonderful. It's done such a good job. Such a good job going on with all this. So, I'm content. WrestleMania as a whole, it gives us all a B for me. I mean, that's really what it is. Because the thing is, I'm going to judge it differently because I want to get some other stars coming up and being built up. But look, they got Gunther. He's strong. Bianca's very strong. Rhea Ripley coming out of this very strong. They got some staying power right now. And I think the storylines are trumping the need for the star power. I just think something's got to give when the star power's got to come up because I need something to happen where people are starting to go backwards and not watch so much content on streaming as they would want to go and watch more of what's going on the weekly TV shows. I need the weekly TV product to be engaging to where people are going to come back and watch it on a regular basis. What are we going to do about that? Like, SmackDown's going to get its audience because of where it's at. The USA part, they need to do the same thing. So what are you going to do next? So the Bloodline storyline is going to continue. All the other titles are going to be in different directions, I'm sure. I don't know yet. But what is exciting is that Backlash looks very interesting. Bad Bunny's going to host it. I'm guessing he's going to perform. That's going to kick ass. That Puerto Rican crowd, I can imagine. It's like going to be a hot crowd for that. Plus, they're going to be in San Juan, I think, what is it, on Friday night and Monday night? That's fantastic. I love it. It's going to be nice to see the Boricuas out there loud and proud for the WWE going on. This right here, this WrestleMania weekend, this weekend for WWE couldn't have gone better. I can imagine the gate was a massive success. The show worked out really well. Everybody's going to go home pretty satisfied. And the company is getting sold at a premium. That's a great weekend for WWE right now. A great weekend into another massive year for them. And the stock price from the sale can only go up for both. When you're talking about a time where there's inflation, recession, all this financial dire straits right now, And this monster company Endeavor comes out and says, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go majority share on WWE right now. Done. Deal. Handshake. Nick Khan. Understand that man is making some major moves. Look at this company, man. If Nick Khan were not in this company, you wouldn't see that deal. It would not have come to fruition. But look at the short amount of time he's been there. What is it, 3 years? And this company is, I mean, look at the magic that's going on right now. So Wednesday, you got to come back for the program. We're going to get the word on the sale. Most likely we'll hear the announcement on Monday. Definitely before close of business, before the stock market closes tomorrow. That announcement's going to come out. We'll get that. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the fall from Raw after WrestleMania. Obviously, that's going to be a big thing going on because if it's Triple H right now holding the pencil, they're going to do surprises. We're going to see debuts. We're going to see returns. We're going to get all that tomorrow. But WrestleMania was really good. I enjoyed it. A good weekend of wrestling, all in all. And now WWE is in such a strong point. All they can do is continue to intensify and build more virality and get more eyeballs on the product on a more consistent basis. That is the key for them. As they continue this growth, as they continue this success. And we will continue to document this here on the next Wrestling Control podcast because wrestling needs us.
Thank you for listening to the Wrestling is Real podcast. Find past episodes anytime at wrestlingisreal.com or subscribe on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or all major podcast distributors. Follow at King of Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. This has been a presentation of the King of Podcasts Radio Network.